So tonight is Tuesday, June 30th, and this is the DPW monthly meeting, which we haven't had for the past couple of months. So in attendance is Councillor Schultz, Councillor Kuchar, Councillor Beauchemin, and Councillor Van Hazinga, and myself, Councillor Fleming. First thing on the agenda tonight is the minutes from the previous meeting. Do we have somebody you guys hear?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, do we have the DPW updates before we hit all the items?
Yeah, so, we haven't had this meeting in a while because of the COVID crisis. We have been working the whole time. We've been here. We're a little bit short on staff levels, due to the COVID and things, but Gary and the guys have been doing a great job trying to keep up with everything, and we'll continue to be here.
Well, thank you for that. I've been getting a lot of calls with quick responses, so we thank you for continue to do your job with short staff and all. Thank you. So first item on the agenda is petition 10120, Councillor Beauchemin to install a berm at 88 Newtonville Road, Newtonville Ave to mitigate the water damage. It was referred from the City Council on 4/21.
Yeah, I went up and looked at it, and it does really need one.
Yeah, I drove past it today and it was all washed out. You could see it was coming off the road.
Do we have, so we're able to do this, no problem.
Yes.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve 10120?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Next item on the agenda is 10220. Councillor Paul Beauchemin to request Unitil to apply new asphalt around holes 12 to 26 on Franklin Road up to Oak Hill Ave.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion that we hold this until I hear from John and Lyon what they're going to do on A, B, C, D, and E, and F.
okay.
I called him up today. I talked to him, and I sent him an email with all these different properties, and he's supposed to get back to me. So I prefer to hold this.
Okay, so you're making a motion?
So which ones do you want to hold? B, C, D, or I'm sorry, C as well, or just B, D, and E? And F?
Well, I want all the ones that have to do with Unitil. That would be B. Oh, not C, sorry.
B,
B, D,
and
E, and F.
I'll second that motion.
okay, let me just make sure there's none on the next page. Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. So now we're going to go to E. Oh, wait a minute, hold that. That's Unitil, that's Unitil. 12920. Councilor Beauchemin to accept Beach Street Lane as a street within the city of Fitchburg. From the city, it was referred from the City Council on 5/19/20, Property Committee, Planning Board, and Public Works.
Yeah, so Beach Street Lane is right off of Beach Street. We were trying to pave Beach Street this year, and we thought it'd be nice to also pave Beach Street Lane because it's in terrible condition. However, since it's not a city accepted street, we cannot spend the MassDOT money, the Chapter 90 money. Chapter 90 money can only be used on city accepted streets. So we were trying to find a way to pave this street. However, accepting a street is not as easy as just passing a motion for our petition, we actually have to go through a whole process of, we're working with the city solicitor, Vinny Pusateri. We're going, you know, with not only this street, but there's other ones, Tabit Circle and Ether Street. There's a whole process that needs to go through. So I would suggest we put this on hold until we can go through the process.
Okay, I have Councillor Schultz who would like to speak.
Yeah, I originally got the call on this street from one of the residents, and I checked out that street. It's in horrible shape, as Nick has said. So I'm hoping, you know, that we can, I don't know what the process is, but I hope we can continue the process to get that done, and especially due to the fact that we're going to be doing Beach Street right nearby. So
What is the process, Nick?
yeah, what is the process?
Well, so the process actually, hold on a second, I can tell you, it starts, let me search for Vinny's email real quick. There we go. So the process is, so typically what's supposed to happen is when a developer builds a street, you know, somebody wants to do a subdivision, you know, they go through planning board, you know, we approve it, they build it, we inspect it to make sure it's built according to plan. And then after the fact, when it's good and ready, they sort of gift it to the city for acceptance. And then we, you know, city council accepts it. City council accepts the name of it. You get to choose, you know, make sure you like the name of it. You know, so there's a process when a street is new, like Ether Way is sort of following this process. It's falling along though because the developer never submitted the street for acceptance. What's happened though is we have a lot of these old streets, like Beach Street Lane. You know, I think there's what, 40 miles of, you know, there's 40 miles of these old streets that we have no idea. We don't know where they are. Well, we know where they are, but like we don't know the boundaries of them. So to accept a street like that, we would have to go out, we would have to hire somebody, a surveyor, to go out and figure out the right of way for this street and put down bounds, and then accept it. So, you know, so the process is a little different if it's a new street or if it's a really old street. So you know, it takes time and money. It takes a lot of engineering, and then we have to take the street, make sure nobody has any rights to it. You know, somebody might say, hey, wait a second, that's my property. It's not a public right of way. You're taking it from me, therefore you owe me money, something like that. So there's research that needs to be done. There's documents that need to be put together and then registered with the Registry of Deeds. So it's quite complicated and involved. And in the end, you know, like Beach Street Lane, if we accept Beach Street Lane, the state doesn't give us any, you know, it's pennies. It's not like we get $10,000 a year to maintain it. It really doesn't work out in our favor. And then plus Gary has something else to maintain on top of everything. So it is a process.
Basically, you have to do a title search and make sure everything is checked out.
Just one more. I got Councillor Schultz who would like to speak again.
I was just going to say, I guess I'm a little unsure about the older streets, Nick. I understand with the new developments and how that process goes. Sounds like we're going to appropriate money to bring in a consultant to survey the land, and I guess how do we get that ball rolling, I guess is my question.
Yeah, yes, Councillor, that's exactly what we would have to do. If we want to accept all these old streets, we would have to hire a survey company that knows how to do these things, to put in bounds, to do the research, to do the deeds. We would have a lot of legal issues, and so yeah, we would have to appropriate funds.
Yeah. It's a very, very short street, and it's nearby. It's too bad we can't expedite the process a little bit for these people.
Well, so the thing is, we can't spend Chapter 90 MassDOT money on unaccepted streets, but if city council, you know, if we appropriated city funds, you know, like tax money to fix roads, then we can spend those funds on unaccepted streets. So the other option.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what would it take to pave a street of that, I mean, it's a short distance. Do you have any idea, Nick, what it would take?
Yes, actually, hold on. We did a, I think it was about $7,000.
12,000.
12,000?
Yeah, that's what you told me.
Okay, yeah, so it's right around there. But that's like complete reconstruction. You know, we would grind it all up and repave it. So, you know, it does add up. But if we could find money like that from the city, we could do these little streets.
Okay, Councillor Beauchemin, who would like to speak again?
Yeah. I was asked to put the petition in from the mayor because I wanted him to use free cash. Gary Bellabacca, the engineer, sent everybody, like, not all of you guys, but a lot of us, the rules and regulations. And my only concern about Beach Street Lane is that if the piping underneath the ground, and I think Nick can verify this, is not up to standard, that means we would have to change, am I right or wrong, change the plumbing underneath the ground. I'll give you an example. With Flynn Place, right behind, off of Beach Street, they had trouble a couple of years ago with the piping. And the city wouldn't touch it because it was not an accepted street and they didn't have the proper piping in there. So they had to go in and buy something to clear it out. What ended up happening, it was a diaper caught inside a 4-inch line or something that big or that small. That's one of the reasons why some of these streets we don't accept, because the plumbing's not right. The piping, the sewer lines are not right. Like Gate Street, that's another one off of Plymouth Street. It's a paper street. I think what we ought to do is approach the mayor and use some of the free cash with $12,000 from free cash to pave that street. That's my opinion. Why spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to hire a consultant and all this kind of stuff when you can do it for $12,000 underneath free cash? But that's up to Nick. He's the boss. I'm just a city councilor.
Okay, I have Councillor Kuchar who would like to speak.
Yeah, thank you. Paul, I understand what you mean. I mean, to get this done, you know, hey, 12,000, we get this done, but there's still legal consequences that we need this, we need a consultant to take a look. I mean, if there's private property rights on this street and we just go in saying, to hell with it, we're gonna do, you know, we're just gonna pave it and make it a city street and whatnot. I mean, we're incurring some legal liability here as the city as a whole. I don't think we should do that.
I'm not asking you to take it over. I'm just saying take $12,000 and pave it. I didn't say take it over. If you went to Beach Street Lane right now, it goes right up to the property lines, to the wall, to the house, right up there and all the way down. I never asked it to be taken over. There's only, there's only 2 houses on this street. And there's one the city owns and the other one way at the end that Councillor Schultz was talking about. There's only 2 houses. One's in foreclosure and the other one that people just bought recently, a couple of months ago, right, Bernie?
Yeah, it was recent.
Yeah. So, and the guy on the corner, he's got his driveway there. So really, there's only 2 houses on that street and then there's a big vacant lot.
I'd like to speak to this. Although I think this is a really great idea, I too think we should go through the proper channels because I have had several requests, Eastland Street being one of them, which is I don't know, three houses on that street for requests to pave it. So I think as a private road, as much as we need it, I think we're opening a can of worms. where
Mhm.
every other private street is, in the city is gonna say, well, you did Beach Street, that was private, why can't you do mine? I mean, we're having that problem with just getting potholes filled, and DPW's been wonderful, they have been doing it. But if they see a private road is going to be paved, we're gonna have an outcry from many of our residents that live on private roads. So I'd like to see this further researched, and as of now, we don't even know what the city's gonna, we're gonna be getting. Right now, we're at a standstill, even with our finances and approving, you know, money for fiscal 2021. So I'd like to see maybe this be held, but I'd like to get a motion. See.
Motion to hold.
Can I speak again, Marissa?
Sure, sure.
I think in the meantime, if you know, when Nick, I mean, if Nick and the DPW crew could kind of smooth that road a little bit for the residents, I mean, I think they might be able to get by for a time until we can do the research on. Because I agree with Andy, we may be opening up a can of worms by taking 12,000 and paving without doing the proper surveying and so on. So, but maybe, you know, in the meantime, maybe Nick could, you know, smooth the road a little bit so that the people can it actually becomes a little more.
Are we able to do that without people complaining their road is not getting the same attention? I mean, if we can do it, I say that
too, but you know, that's a
Yeah.
private road as well.
Yeah. And that's actually been a problem since the day I
It's a long time
started.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, there's really no way to smooth it out. The ruts are so huge in there that we would have to get some, either, you know, dump a lot of material, a lot of pavement, or, you know, go in with machinery and rip it up. Whatever we do, I think people are gonna complain. I mean, it's gonna be a big project, whatever we do.
Okay, let's see here. Andrew, you would like to speak again, Councilor Kuchar?
Yes, honestly, I mean, I know this, everybody wants to get it done and whatnot, but I mean, my God, we're doing our budget month by month now, and I really don't think it's right now is an opportune time to create an issue like this. So I'm gonna put forward a motion to hold this.
Second.
All those in favor?
On a motion,
Oh, I think we already had a motion and second.
I'm speaking on the motion.
Okay, sorry.
On the motion, I just want everybody to be very careful what we're saying here on this piece of property, where you're considering budget things by month. We just gave $50,000 away for the month of July. We never thought about the budget then. So I'm not saying about Beach Street Lane, but I'm just saying, just think of what you're telling me. You're telling me something here that you're concerned about, but we just gave $50,000 away last week.
For what?
Johnny Appleseed. We didn't think about the budget then, but on that, I'll go with the motion to hold. I have no problem with that. But if they're going to tell me one thing here, then do it down all the way down the line. Don't say one thing here and do something else entirely different. That's all I'm saying. Because the vote was 10-1. Remember that.
Well,
I know what the vote was, Paul.
Johnny Appleseed has been an expense we've had every year. This would be an added expense.
Exactly.
So, okay, all in favor of holding?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. So, 04620, Councilors Marisa Fleming and Marcus Di Natale to declare Ethia Street a public way. This was held during the February 2020 meeting. I can't even read this. Do we have any updates
Yes.
on this?
Yes, Councillor. Like I said, we've been working with City Solicitor Vinny Pusateri to get all these streets into the process. So the issue with Eat Your Way is the developer. The developer still owns the street, and until he gives it to the city for acceptance, we can't take it. So they're trying to track him down and trying to track down his company and trying to get him to file the appropriate paperwork.
Okay, I know how to get a hold of him, but I don't think he's going to answer. Councillor Schultz?
So Nick, this is a newer project. The developer is somewhere to be found. It's not like it's an old street. Now, when you mentioned we're trying to do the process, does that include Beach Street Lane in that research, or is it just Ethier Street that you're talking about?
So right now, we have a couple streets on there. I think Tibbet Circle, Ethier Street, Skyview. So there's a couple streets that the city solicitor is working on, but Ethier Street is one of the ones we would like to get finished, because there's some money that's still being held in escrow. The residents there have been living there, I think, what, 5-10 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a development that's starting to get, older, and the infrastructure is starting to need attention. So he is trying to move this one along.
So do we want to hold this one then? We want to hold it until we get those answers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I believe Councillor Beauchemin would like to speak.
I don't mind accepting Eastern Way, but I want to make it clear on the Redemption Pond. I think we ought to be looking at the Redemption Pond and say to the developer, he's responsible for it, because we have no funds. And I'll repeat, we have no funds to maintain the Redemption Pond on the side of that road. And there's overgrowth as of right now, because I've been up there before, overgrowth and everything else in that Redemption Pond. And we don't have the manpower to take care of it. So that's all I want to say before I accept Ethier Way, that the Redemption Pond on the side is handled some way, somehow, or some way different than us taking it over, and then we're responsible.
Well, I think that's what we're trying to do. That's why they're trying to get a hold of the developer, which seems to be almost impossible. Because the city will not take that street over until all the issues that they have are addressed. So it's not something we can accept tonight.
Madam Chair, you're missing the point. Madam Chair, what I'm saying to you is we have a Redemption Pond on the side, that means overflow, that we're responsible once we accept Ethier Way. We don't have the funds to maintain the Redemption Pond or the overflow pond. We don't even have the manpower to take care of it. So that should be addressed separately. That shouldn't fall underneath the guidelines of a city street. A Redemption Pond is not a city street. It's a pond for overrun. And we're going to take on that responsibility once we take Ethier Street over. And we can't afford it, and we don't have the manpower to take care of it. We just don't have it.
So, Commissioner, if we take over Ethier Way, which of course we're gonna put it on hold anyways,
yeah,
would he have to address all those issues, including the pond, before?
Yes. So the pond, the pond sits on a parcel of its own. That parcel, along with the roadway, has to be given over to the city by the developer because it's part of the drainage system. So that's, again, we can't just go in there and start maintaining the property because it's private property. So that's part of the process. They got to give us all the easements. You know, a lot of times there's drainage easements or easements over other people's property. We need to get all those rights from the developer and from the neighbors in order to be able to maintain our system. And as Councillor Beauchemin has correctly stated, it's been 10 years that Detention Pond has not been maintained. So now it's overgrown with trees. So that means once we accept it, we're going to have to go in there and basically, you know, clear it out of trees and make sure the water's flowing through there again.
Okay, so that's not something that he would have to address before we would take it over, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't want us to take it over because he's not responding to any of the requests. I have Councillor Van Hessinga.
Now, if we're holding bond money for that development, can we take any of that or use any of it to address any deferred maintenance issues like the retention pond to get everything up to shape before we accept?
Right. So there is, so because this project was a development that went through the planning board, there is some money still sitting there, but it's not a lot of money. I think I don't have it in front of me, but the detention pond is something like $4,000 or $5,000, which isn't a lot.
No, but I mean, would that pay for, you know, an afternoon of having a crew in there and just cut down some of the trees and clear it out? It's something.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Well, right now, I don't see if this road is going to be become public until.
Motion to hold.
Yeah.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm in favor, no opposition. It is passed. And our final petition is 12619, Councillor Joel Caddy to correct water problems at 15 Thurston Place. This was held during the June, September, and October 2019, and January and February of 2020 meetings.
What are we looking at this one?
This week here, I'm gonna go up and install a driveway apron at 15 Thurston Place. That's what the engineer said that it needed.
Okay. And that would solve the problem?
That's what I was told.
Okay, did I see that Councillor Beauchemin wanted to speak, or is that an old one?
No, I want to talk anywhere in that place. Got another question for you, Gary. If the water puddles up on that street and there's no hills to make it go and it stays right there, the catch basins are not properly installed then.
There is catch basins.
There's one on the corner, right on the corner, I forget the name of the street, the Parker Street.
But the property's probably too flat to get it there. The street itself?
Yeah. When I went up there to look at it back when Joel Caddy was, you could actually literally see the water wasn't moving. It's like it just stays there like a big puddle. If it gets high enough, then it goes down people's yards. It doesn't go down to your right. It doesn't go to your left. It goes right down the middle of the road, down to people's yards. It never makes the catch basins on the corners.
So you don't want to accept it because of that?
Oh,
or-
I mean, I'll accept what they say.
Okay.
They're the engineers. I'm just saying, he's going to put, what are you going to put? An apron?
Just an apron in the driveway.
Yeah, but the apron in the driveway, but if you look to, I don't know what driveway you're talking about, but if you look to the right of that driveway, if it's the one I think, the water's going right down the guy's yard in the backyard.
Down through, I was told it was right through the driveway.
All right, all right. Okay,
Do we have a motion?
make a
Motion to
motion to
accept.
accept.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's unanimous. Do
Make
we
a motion
have,
to adjourn.
Hold up on that motion to adjourn. Got a couple of quick questions. There's a lot of overgrowth of vegetation at intersections. Nick, what's going on with that?
Yes, sir. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we're very short-staffed. We don't have the inmates. Typically, we have 6, 7 inmates every day that show up, and they're great for doing that kind of manual labor. Because of COVID, they don't want they're trying to isolate the jail cells because they don't want the COVID to get in there. So we don't have those guys. Also, this year we didn't hire any summer help. Again, City Hall, budget cuts, all that. So we haven't hired summer help. And also, we're down, we only have 3 park guys that have to maintain 60 properties. That's all the parks, all the traffic islands, all the, all those city-owned properties where there's grass, there's about 60 of them. And we only have 3 guys. And these are also the guys that have to pick up the trash and the illegal dumping. So, we're really struggling to try to, keep the parks mowed and keep the city looking nice. I know there's a lot of overgrowth at the intersections. It's just a shortage of staff at this point. We do have a lot of open positions. Every week I put that in there, our staffing levels. We have, 10 open positions that we would like to hire. They're, they're funded. But it just takes time, but it's just one of these things, priorities.
All right. I actually have Councillor Schultz who would like to speak, and Councillor Benazinga.
Yeah, I want to talk about the overgrowth too, because I got a list I've been holding off because I know you're short-staffed. Different streets in my ward, there's a lot of overgrowth. Should I get the list to you anyway, and you can put it on the list, and if things change, we can go from there?
Yes, all of you, all you counselors can send us a list of, overgrown. Also, see Click Fix, you can put them in through there. But if you send us your list, we'll try to prioritize those. Okay. And maybe take a day or 2 and just find somebody to go out there and weed whack them a little bit.
Yeah. I
mean, what happens if the residents go out and just trim it down?
Small trees that are in the way, they hurt, like some of the residents say they hurt the plowing in the wintertime because they seeded and they're very close to the road, on some of the roads that in my ward. So I could list those as well.
Bernie, that's the same thing that I'm getting. It's starting to become a safety issue, especially on one of the places on my list, the very first one, even though it's the one that I first noticed, is the intersection of Route 12, which is Ashburnham Road, and the intersection of Westminster Hill Road. Yeah. You can't see around that corner. That's a tight corner to begin with.
Right,
right. You're taking your life in your own hands if you're going.
Yeah, that's a bad spot, Andy. That's a bad spot.
Of course, that's the
we're willing.
Most.
I have another council who would like to speak.
Yeah.
Councillor Benazinga.
I think Paul was before me. I'll let him go first.
Oh, was he?
He was nice enough to actually use the list. I
oh, okay.
I guess I'm not nice.
Councillor Beauchemin.
Yeah, I got one question for Nick. You're doing the project there on Franklin Road. You're going to put 2 of those stop signs on the opposite side of Oak Hill Road, right? There's supposed to be 4 going up.
So there's 2 flashing stop signs that are going to be facing Oak Hill Road coming from the country club.
Right.
Those are going to be flashing red. On Franklin Road coming from Rheingold, there's going to be pedestrian, like the ones that you push the button and they start flashing.
Yeah.
Those pedestrian signs are going to be there. On the other side of Oak Hill, what we're going to do is we're just going to put 2 stop signs, 1 stop sign on each side, regular stop signs to help people realize there's a stop there.
I thought the petition stated 4. I thought there was going to be 4 of those flashing stop signs up there. 2 coming down from Oak Hill Road from the country club and 2 going up towards the country club.
No, the plan was always just to have the two flashing red when you're coming from the I mean, it's all money, it's all time and money at this point. I think, you know.
Are we still talking to the agenda items, or have we gone off into other?
We've got off the rails,
Yeah,
Marissa.
let's stick to the agenda.
Hold
And,
on here. You just allowed the other councilors to ask questions about the overgrowth.
yeah,
Now, because I asked a question about the stop signs, you're saying no?
well, we're off subject now. We're really going into other areas more. Let's just stick to the agenda.
And
And
I take a motion, we adjourn, because you came off the adjournment. You go on the overgrowth.
Councilor Van Is-
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, we're adjourned.